you know, we've been hanging around a lot for 3 years, and I've been watching you direct this movie, and I'm really impressed. I think you have a future in this. I really do. You know, and I've made films where it's smaller, and you know, you get in the room and say, and then the actor says, "I don't really feel comfortable sitting here at this table," and you say, "Oh, okay, great. You know, why don't you cross during that?" It's very different when you get on set and there are, you know, 500 extras, and there's a Starkiller base, and the transport has come in, and Oscar gets off the transport, and I've seen you do what I would do in a little dining room. You say, wait, let's change this whole thing. And well, it's kind of thrilling.
Well, thank you. But a lot of that comes from, and it's a very weird thing, but this entire process has been, in some ways, an exercise in denial, in denying that Disney just spent $4 billion on the thing, and denying that, you know, fans of this thing were going to kill me if they didn't like it. But what it reminded me of was exactly what you're saying, which is making a small film, making a student film, doing an episode of, you know, Felicity, where it's like you've got a few people in the dorm room and you go, oh, you know what we could try? And it just allowed us to try things, still sometimes scenes with a few people in a space, but that thing was, what you just mentioned, was real, and it was partly because I think we were all trying not to focus on the enormous responsibility of it, and more on the responsibility of telling a good story.
I think there's a lightness that's infused in the movie because of that. You know, there isn't a sense of predetermination all the time. There's a kind of air in the filmmaking that I love. And when you are thinking about the next day, do you ever have trouble sleeping? And do you find that, and this comes up for me all the time, and I think for everybody who does this, which is, do you find that your perceptions are not always correct? That the day you thought, you know, you get the take, oh, that's fantastic, we'll never do better than that, that's great, you get in dailies, oh, it sucks.
Yes.
And the thing you thought sucked is really good.
Yeah. It's not to say that the crews on the projects I've worked on haven't been extraordinary. I feel lucky to have worked with everyone I've worked with, except for 2 people. But truly though, the experience on this was never like anything else. You know when a movie comes out that there are going to be people who don't like what you do, and that always is going to happen, of course. Kathy Kennedy, when we first talked about it, she said, we're talking about the idea of having a female Jedi. And I'd written some shows, Felicity and Alias, that had female characters at the center. And the idea of a female Jedi was, you know, for some reason, I thought, oh my God, there's a 19-year-old kid out there who doesn't know who the hell Luke Skywalker is necessarily, who doesn't know what's real, what's not, who's just this, like, she doesn't even know she's living in Star Wars. And what happens if that is our, you know, lead character?
And I remember sitting very early in the production, sitting on the set and turning to each other and saying, you know, we already won on this one. You know, things can go horribly wrong. People can hate the movie. You know, there can be disasters.
And, you know, every creature in that room was real. They were all, that was a practical shot entirely, until it ends on Maz. And Maz was a CG character. What we're doing here is, to some people, sacred, but it's just a movie. And yet, what we have to treat this, obviously, you know, as importantly as I know that we are, as important as we make a movie that we are proud of and that we love.